Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at two of our favorite Islay distilleries and their limited edition yearly releases, let's say, Dustin, that are cast strength.
Go for it.
Laphroaig 10, cast strength, we got batch 15 here, and the Lagavulin 12, we got batch 13, which is a good batch, right here.
2013.
2013. What did I say?
You said batch 13. That's just 2013.
Forgive me. Yeah, the Lagavulin comes in at 55.1 and Laphroaig comes in at 56.5. So I tried to match up the ABVs as best I could, just to get them kind of close. And this is the only Laphroaig 10 we had, so we had to pick a Lagavulin that was close.
This is very classic-ish Laphroaig. Lagavulin, right, Mike? I mean, as far as clothes go,
it's one of the better ones, though.
Yeah, but it's not like it's off-profile. So we didn't want to do some of the recent releases, guys, because they've been a little
hit and miss.
Well, and also just strange.
Yeah, so...
And I didn't have a Lion's Fire open, truth be told.
Yeah, in general, these are two of my favorite distilleries. Every year they come out with these special releases. Throughout the years, we try to get our hands on as many of these as possible. Not as high on some of the newer ones now, but these are just classic, yearly release, cast strength, young, peated whiskeys that have been on my bar for since I discovered Islay whiskey.
Yeah.
Like, these are bang for your buck good whiskeys. Here's the thing, though. This in Ohio was $50 till recently, but they had it mispriced for years. But it's about an $80, $90 bottle, roughly.
A little over 100.
A little over 100. And this is about 160 now, the Lagavulin 12s.
180, 100.
Yeah, so Lagavulin's still quite a bit older, 2 years older. Excuse me, quite a bit more expensive. It's 2 years older.
20% older and 50, 60, 70% more expensive.
Lagavulin's a big aristocrat of the Isles, Dustin. Big aristocrat of the Isles, my friend. Look at that stately bottle. God,
I miss the old bottles. They're so good.
It was so perfect. All right. So, as you can tell, Laphroaig colors their whiskey right here. Lagavulin, I tell you what, I've seen stuff come out of the barrel at Lagavulin. If it's not a sherry butt, it is the lightest whiskey you've ever seen.
It looks like just ethanol.
Yeah, it is. But hey, I don't care. It bites, buddy. It bites.
It's good.
All right, so if you guys had any experience with these whiskeys, you know these are big, huge, punchy whiskeys. And this is the young, cast strength, slap you in the face version of it. Don't ever start someone out with one of these two whiskeys if they've never had a peated whiskey. It's funny. It is. And if you don't think you'll ever be man enough to drink it like your brother-in-law, you can do that.
I mean, unless they're like a cast strength bourbon guy, maybe. But if they're not a cast strength whiskey drinker also, like, you're just...
He eventually got him Glengoyne 25. That's his drink, 48%. So he came around. We got him back. All right, so we love these whiskeys. It's been a long time since we looked at both of them. Dustin and I thought it would be fun to kind of go back to these two and revisit. I don't know if we've ever done this comparison before. Yeah, we haven't. Maybe I did one point.
It's just one of those comparisons that just makes sense to do. And
absolutely. We try to look at other items. So we look at Ardbegs, but there's really nothing that's just annual release, age stated, 10, 12, bang, bang. I hate the fact that Ardbeg doesn't have anything age stated that's cast strength.
Or an a regular release except the 10, and then you go to the 19. It's just, come on, guys.
Yeah. Anymore. But anyway, I've always thought these two distilleries hit a home run with these bottles.
Yeah, I mean, these are probably, when you talk to peat heads, whether they're nerds like us who want the highly aged whiskeys, or the guys who are like, I like my peat straight from the barrel. I don't even want it to touch the barrel. I want it right off the still. They all are going to still love these whiskeys because they're just, it's that perfect, it is. It's just that perfect high, like, spot in time. I don't know how else to put it.
So this is kind of a comparison review, but, really no losers here.
Yeah. Honestly, this is just, thought we'd have some fun here and drink some peated whiskey.
Man, this comes off so punchy, this 10. No, initially the smoke level in here is very similar to the normal 10, which is what, 43?
43. Well, 43 in the States, 40 for our friends in the UK. I'm sorry, guys.
Heresy. Just like Lagavulin 16, the standard 10 at 43, it's a big smoke. Mm-hmm. But this has something behind it. It's called ABV, Dustin.
Yeah.
Non-chill filtering. Barrier filtering.
It brings this, like, sweet oakiness forward that you don't get on the regular 10.
Sweetness.
I don't know why these get it and that one doesn't, but
deep sweetness.
You never get it. Like, this almost reminds me more of like the quarter cask on steroids than the 10 on steroids.
Agreed.
But it doesn't have that heavy vanilla note that that you pick up on the quarter cask.
This is bare.
No.
Bare. Yeah, that is something, that oily vanilla banana thing that the quarter casks give off
Yeah.
is the difference. This is just straight ex-bourbon barrels used probably 4 or 5 times.
There's something though here. I mean, there's something from the bourbon barrel that's still. I don't think these are all ex. I think there's some first fill in here.
You know what? I'm being too harsh. You're absolutely right.
Now the regular tin I do think is all refilled. This I'm getting like a richness and a heavy like sweetness coming in here.
Heavy sweetness. You know, this whiskey soup. This is like the smokiest whiskey of Laphroaig. What do they say? The most flavorful whiskey. That's a good marketing term.
It's fair.
That's good. You know what? No one's saying you ain't.
Yeah.
Flavor. That can mean a lot of things.
There's that mintiness to it.
Minty, sweet, and even
Slightly burned oak.
Even being cast, there's always some burn notes before. Even being cast strength, 10 years old, super peated, it's still approachable.
Yes. It doesn't singe your nose. It doesn't come off super like bitey. And now again, if you're not somebody who drinks and smells cast strength whiskey, ignore us here. But from a normal connoisseur drinking, this is really nice, very approachable. And now we get into
The
Lagavulin.
All right, Lagavulin 12, Dustin.
Well, comparatively, Mike, there's no peat on here. It literally, when you nose it, it's just refilled cask and Lagavulin sweet malt because the smoke level of the Laphroaig is that much higher.
That much higher.
It's crazy. I could literally, when you poured this, I could smell the Lagavulin smoke coming my way. But now, after smelling the Laphroaig, it's like almost non-existent.
I still say Lagavulin has the worst wood policy in Southern Iowa.
Yeah, and you get some wood glue notes here.
And this is the 13th. It's been open for a while. Yeah, I like comparing whiskeys like that, especially heavily peated whiskeys. Now, here's the thing. Peat will take a lot of flaws out of whiskey. So that's why it's possible to have a 10-year-old whiskey like this Laphroaig, and for us to say all the positive things we did about it. Peat is going to hide a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's going to hide youth, and it's going to hide a few other off-putting things, but not with the Lagavulin.
You know, there's a YouTube video, and I can't find it last time I looked, but it was from 15, 16 years ago, where they had one of like the tour guides or somebody at Lagavulin talking about it, and he pours some of the 12-year Lagavulin out of a barrel, and he goes, "To me, the 12 is a very young version of Lagavulin," and I'm sitting there thinking, little did he know, 10 years later, they'd release that terrible 8. Sorry, guys. Mike and I have to take shots.
You and that 8-year-old age statement. We found the holy grail of 8-year-olds. You're still not happy.
I'm just not happy with the Lagavulin. Because all I'm saying is whiskey wasted that should have been aged 4 more years and been released as a 12.
I tell you what, this distillery gets. When I said earlier, I probably has the worst wood policy in Southern Iowa, which is Ardbeg and Laphroaig. Lagavulin feels like they get away with so much because their spirit is that good.
Yeah. Well, I'm starting to pick up some sootiness and dirtiness.
Oh, the soot will come.
That is literally just like pulling this whiskey up. Like it's like, oh, you have bad casks. Who cares? Get up here. You're good.
Anytime they put good cask maturation, some age on a whiskey and bottle it, it's epic. Every time.
But yet they've created an epic whiskey by using third fill.
Now,
Bourbon
when I
cask.
said earlier, 4th, 5th fill bourbon cask, that's bourbon cask. What I should have applied that to was Lagavulin. I was probably subconsciously thinking about
Yeah,
Lagavulin.
there's some much fresher oak in this one. For
Absolutely. This comes off, like it has a far better oak influence than the Lagavulin.
Those barrels were just meant to hold on to the whiskey so they could call it 12 years old. It was not meant to do a lot more. And that's okay here because it's left this beautiful, oily, rich
Lagavulin
demon.
malt is still one of my favorites. We reviewed the 7-year-old. I didn't have high expectations for it, but it was just everything Lagavulin is.
Yeah.
Like, the malt's so good. Maybe it's not that, the wood policy is terrible. Maybe it's just they want to let the spirit shine as much as humanly possible. I mean, it's one of those distilleries.
I think they do that to some degree, but again, to your point, we know when they use good oak, you get exceptional whiskey.
I don't know what it is, Dustin. From the first time I had a Lagavulin, which was a 16-year-old, I was just blown away. Like, it is so obviously my favorite distillery as far as a profile. It makes me happy just smelling it. Even in casks that have done this much, and this is probably colored.
If Lagavulin was a distillery, I could get their limited editions at retail. I would buy so much more. But we have to pay secondary here because they're Isla exclusives, and we have to get it from a store who picked it up and had somebody ship them a couple cases.
And thank God that we have that option.
I'm glad we have it, but it's like
Don't be negative about it.
it just makes it so hard for me to like go out and buy a bunch
The
of these.
other option for us in the real world is we just don't get them.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to get them.
We start sending a couple of $100 to some of our friends over in the UK and be like, hey, buddy, can you just swing by there for us?
Before I got any facial Lagavulin or any like the special Lagavulins, I remember looking at them like on a Master Malt or whiskey base and just dreaming about it. Like I remember like the 21 from 91. Like man, I just want that box. I want that whiskey. One the 37. Just I made 25. I mean, most of them happened, but man, I remember before that, I just envied having those bottles.
No, I get it, yeah. Well, I mean, I remember when you first picked up the 25, I was like, man, I wish I could justify that price for that bottle.
Bought two more. We had lunch afterwards.
Oh, we did.
That Irish pub in Cincinnati. That's such a fun place.
Free Blanton's Pours.
Free Bryant for us. Yeah, that's right. What did I have? Shepherd's pie? It's a good day. All right, Dustin. Let's go back. Let's sip the Laphroaig tip.
Absolutely, man. I'll tell you what, the wood notes are just so popping now. Like, I mean, this smells like a pine tree. Like one of those car fresheners, like that's all pine. It almost smells like that. And I mean that in the best and worst way. And like, this is kind of artificial woody smelling. I don't know what they're doing to get that. It's not a great wood, but it is very woody.
Before I play some tricks on you, don't they smoke the peat twice or something? They smoke the peat before it dries and then during the drying process. They smoke it when it's wet or something. Anyway, point is, I listened to John Campbell talk about it. I have it's on a YouTube video. It's like 45 minutes long about the Laphroaig distillery. And he says like that's why it's so smoky. And Laphroaig is smoky, but I've always said it's not dense like Lagavulin and Ardbeg.
It's different.
Different. Thinner is what I'm getting at.
There's nothing thin about this particular
Agreed.
batch. This is actually incredibly oily and rich.
So oily.
Again, it's super woody.
Yeah, when you said pine earlier, I used to play Frisbee golf with these guys down at Hoover Reservoir in Columbus, Ohio, and the whole back nine was in this forest. Mm-hmm. And if walking from 15 to 16, let's say, there's a portion of it where the needles were heavy, and walking through that, right there. And I've always said that. You can almost smell the syrup, the stickiness of the syrup in the pine.
Yeah, but this one brings on like almost like an artificial vanilla note as well.
Yeah, vanilla's there. Burnt vanilla.
But it's artificial.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know what it is. Everything about this flavor it feels forced.
It feels propped up, or let's use a terrible term, on steroids.
I mean, well, it kind of reminds me again of when they use quarter casks to kind of like essentially it's a way of cheating. And I don't mean like there's no rule against it, but it's a way of cheating the traditional sense, whereas Lagavulin is very traditional. We simply use refilled casks. We do nothing special. This feels like they did something to try to add an oomph.
The quarter cask isn't a lie. They don't change the age statement.
It's not a lie. It's simply, but it's a way of imparting more oak and more concentration of flavor in less time.
It's not, sure. But it's not Paxerat, it's wood.
I'm simply stating it's a way of cheating the process. We see it all over the U.S. craft world where they use super small barrels as well.
So do you think that a bourbon barrel compared to a sherry butt is cheating?
Well, they're imparting different flavor profiles, so there's a difference there.
Fine. I still say a quarter cask has...
No, I would say a hogshead versus a sherry butt is an effort to add more flavor faster. So that is...
Well, of course.
And thus, it would be, to me, again, I don't mean cheating in a negative way.
You short-step the process?
It's just a way of cheating the traditional process.
Yeah, sure. I said on steroids.
Fair enough, which is considered cheating by many.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Agreed.
Cheers.
I like my baseball with 60, 70 home runs.
Heck yeah.
And why should a guy's forehead not be the size of the catcher's mitt?
Yeah. Even football, Peyton Manning, look how big his forehead is. That's what I want to see. I want to see home runs and dudes getting laid out.
Actually, believe it or not,
it dunks.
It's smelling smokier now, the Lagavulin, just having sat in the glass, even going back and forth against Laphroaig.
The best way to describe Lagavulin and its smoke and its experience is a dragon, or let's say a snake, uncoiling. It comes off not dark, not really overly smoky, but man, as soon as you swallow, that's all going to change. Dustin, tell them all about it.
This
Meaty.
is incredibly oily and rich. This is like whiskey oil. I don't know how to... This might even be denser, but there's a concentrated oiliness coming on the Lagavulin that is just...
I love it.
Everything I want. It's got a little bit of a sour, again, wood glue kind of thing going on. It's got that oiliness. It's almost in comparison up front. Like this is trying to be something approachable to people. Whereas this is like, we're not even trying. We simply are putting out this aggressive, difficult to enjoy upfront whiskey. But you know what? If you are someone who appreciates this, it's going to blow your mind. And then that finish, sooty, dirty, earthy, smokiness. Man, I mean, this kind of reminds me a little bit of when Ralphie was doing that review of the Balvenie 12-year first fill bourbon and talking about how it's a little bit difficult. It's got a little bit of sour notes. It's difficult
on the sour.
It's difficult to for some people. This is a more difficult whiskey to appreciate. But once you appreciate it, it's just it's a whole other level of whiskey.
So, in regards to Lagavulin, I'll disagree with you on one point. I do think it's a denser whiskey. I think Ardbeg and Lagavulin are just meatier. Maybe meatier is a better way to say that.
Well, I agree with you. It's denser.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, like up front here, it's like the oak and wood they've done here gives it this like artificial, bigger mouthfeel. But then when you swallow, like the concentration here, it's just like whoa.
Yeah, no, this is the real deal.
This is way more. And they did
it. Want to be disappointed slightly or impressed? Once you taste it.
The thing is, there's nothing disappointing here. It's just once you go to this, you're just like, oh, there's levels to this.
Yeah, so like on the nose, I would say neat. I like the Laphroaig better. There's more going on the nose.
I agree.
Lagavulin, even the flavors it imparts that you hear in the long linger, like a little bit of lemon, and the sooty campfire smoke. That's what I've always liked about Lagavulin smoke. It's campfire smoke and soot smoke, as opposed. And that's driven by wood. You're burning wood. That's where as opposed from smoke from like asphalt or smoke. You know what I mean? Or white chimney smoke. That's a little lighter smoke. Yeah. I love just the dirty wood smoke. Grew up on the Mississippi River. We used to go camping and stuff all the time. I love bonfires. It just reminds me of that, and it always did.
One thing I would say is, we initially said the Laphroaig is colored. I'll tell you what, the amount of additional wood notes here indicate that this should be a darker whiskey. Now, again, I still think it's colored, but I think this would be naturally darker than the Lagavulin.
Almost every Laphroaig is the same color, other than 25 and the 30.
Again, I'm fully on board that it's colored.
There's like the 10 cast.
My point was, this would be a darker whiskey naturally than this, I believe. Because I'm getting more like wood notes. This did seem to impart more.
Yeah, something. This is pine. This is burning wood in a campfire.
This is spirit driven on the nose. This has a lot of cask.
Agreed. I mean, because again, like as we said before, Lagavulin's that distillery.
And if you ever want to smell Lagavulin, Laphroaig, get a select. That's nothing but the terrible. It's terrible cask. Maybe there's some sherry in there, but it's. Not much.
When I read about what that whiskey was, I'm like, I'm not trying it. How could I possibly be happy with that?
I think I tried it at a bar once, or somebody just gave me a sip, and I was just like, oh, okay, it's whiskey.
You need to get better at saying no.
I like to drink whiskey, regardless.
All right, Dustin.
One time, all right?
Laphroaig with water. Made it slightly more approachable. It's a little stinging with water on the nose. Still just a great whiskey. I will bang these out anytime. Cold, hot, it don't. No, it's real hot. I don't want them, but anytime. Like even if it's like sun goes down, even in August, man, give me a Laphroaig.
Yeah. So I went and tasted it. I kind of skipped the process here, Mike, but I actually like it. It sweetened it up, cleaned it up, gave it a little more like a candied sugar kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Overall, this is just a really good whiskey. It's fun to drink, but I gotta say, it feels forced. It feels like somebody wanted this one to have more sweetness than it just to make it sweeter. I guess to sort of get into like I think they're chasing after, honestly, cask strength bourbon drinkers who like peat, and that's a big demographic, by the way. A lot of the guys who love Elijah Craig Barrel Proof also love Laphroaig 10, and I think they're really catering to that sweet, bold, punch you in the face thing.
It's definitely sweet. Maybe sweeter than the earlier batches. I remember batches 6, 7, 8, and even 10. If after 10, maybe they kind of got away from it being those were gritty, punchy. Yeah. Not a lot of sweetness.
This is a little too sweet for me, personally. I think this is too sweet. Okay. I'm still going to drink it. I love this is my bottle. It's coming home with me, but it's not my first of this batch.
All right, Dustin, Lagavulin 12. A little bit of water. Oh, it's just smoking lemon. Like, don't overcomplicate it. It's just a meaty spirit smoking lemon.
The sourness has gone down. Actually, like the nose on this much better. That wood glue note I noted, gone. Nah, this is just smoke. Yeah, you're right. There's a little lemon.
I always get those with the 12.
Even the lemon is kind of subdued. It's just smoke, a little bit of light wood. It's simple. This is definitely the more interesting nosing whiskey. Mm-hmm. This is just look at that oiliness, God.
All right, Dustin. Let's look at this from two different ways. Let's say traditional comparison review. Someone's picking up the tab at the bar. Which one are you drinking all night? You got to choose now, and you can't switch. And then secondly, for the money, is what's the difference? We both had a bottle, so it really doesn't matter. So let me go first. I'm taller.
Go for it. And you're older.
True. Tonight, the Laphroaig came off as a better whiskey to me.
Really?
But I'm still going to pick Lagavulin 12 because I'm Lagavulin. You know I'm Team Lagavulin all the way. I got my family coat of arms right here. I might get another tattoo right here with just the Lagavulin coat of arms.
I think you should do that. Only I think you should do it on the small of your back.
Oh, tramp stamp.
I want a Lagavulin tramp stamp.
Like Keith Springbank's tramp stamp.
Yeah,
you're right there.
You're the one man I feel like can pull off a tramp stamp, but it has to be Lagavulin. It can't be. Actually, you know what? It's just the Lagavulin horse.
No one would know what the. No, I'm not putting a horse.
It's got to be nerdy, so only the nerds get it. That's what makes it great.
Man, it would be the really cool coat of arms. I don't know if it's on.
Or actually,
it's somewhere here. It's actually not on the.
It's on the box.
It's on the box.
Actually, yeah. The
hey, like a line through it. I got a line over here.
Oh, that's okay. The line. 2
lines.
Tramp stamp.
Anyway, yeah, I'm going with Lagavulin, Dustin. What you talking?
In a lot of ways, the Laphroaig is the more interesting whiskey in that it's got that sweetness, has a little bit more going on from the wood. Mm-hmm. But, dude, that Lagavulin is just so enjoyable. It's delicious, the oiliness, the intensity, and again, the sophistication going on. I love it. It's definitely, for me, the better whiskey. Now, you made a good point, though, Mike. Let's call this 170 in today's market, and let's call this 110.
Sure. So it's
$60 more.
So it's a third extra.
Yeah,
we're with the third. I mean, for me, it is because I'm Team Lagavulin. As I already told you.
Yeah,
you could have put anything up here. You could put Springbank 25 and like Lagavulin 12. You know what? I like their mom and pop operation.
Yeah.
Joking aside, this is very close.
Yeah.
These are 2 quality whiskeys, and this is why, as I mentioned earlier in the review, I've had these for maybe a decade.
Yeah.
On my bar. I mean, 2013 was my first year release. I mean, yeah, it has been a decade. Been 11 years. And these are great whiskeys.
We should point out this is a fairly recent purchase that was purchased well below that 170 mark because we had a buddy in New York.
Sure, but I had the 13.
My point is we're actually finding these, and you actually in auctions as well. You're finding these older Lagavulin 12s for not retail from back then, but still cheaper than the current. No, cheap, even less sometimes.
Anymore, it's hard because I'm trying to round out the collection. I tell you what, when you get below 2010, man,
then you're talking, but you can still get some of these for fairly reasonable prices.
Hey, I don't like Lagavulin as from an American standpoint about as well as anybody. I'll say this: I think the sweet spot for these 12s was 13 to 17.
Agreed.
18 was still really good too.
I would say I would include 18. 18 actually was more back to traditional because 17 got super sweet. 18 was more traditional.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, 13 to 18, like that was. I'm not saying.
And then 19 was something was wrong.
I'm not saying that those are 1 through. What are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not saying that's 1 through 6, but it's all of those were quality whiskeys.
Yeah.
And from a purely whiskey standpoint, 17 was the best one.
I would probably lean that way, although that's a great one too.
13 and 14 are my favorite, and that's finally coming up. What I liked about this 13 compared to the other Lagavulin 12s, got ashy.
I really enjoyed that.
It takes a second for it to get ashy, but this is ashy where 14 was lemon.
But I will say this, and I got to go back to this real quick, Mike. We chose this and not to use the most recent Lagavulin 12, which we brought you a review of, because I'm not enjoying what they've done in the recent years. Whereas this is a fairly recent one. This is only a couple years old. This is the 2021. I almost bought the newest release of this. Mm-hmm. By the way, it's in a box now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. With 18. When they brought out the 18 in a box, they went tubeless.
They went tubeless. They got the box. I almost didn't realize it was a cast strength. I was like, why is the tin $100 or $105? I was like, oh, it's a cast strength. Mm-hmm. I was like, that just doesn't register. It actually looks way nicer.
Boxes are I like tubes. I'm not saying I don't, but boxes.
Well, they got the labels right, too. The boxes are looking sharp.
Yes.
Anyway, and I'm guarantee you that's probably similar to this. I gotta say, if I'm buying the newest releases, Mike, I am probably leaning towards the Laphroaigs because the price on the Lagavulin has gotten wild.
And you don't know what you're getting year to year.
Yeah, no.
It might be a tequila cask. It might be like
Virgin Oak. It might be that Virgin Oak. You know what pissed me off about the Virgin Oak, Mike?
Give it to me.
I smelled it. Smelled like Lagavulin. I tasted it. I got Lagavulin. And then the finish came, and I went, what the fuck is this? I mean, it was so like, oh, this is not so... But oh, wait, never mind.
The mezcal on that tequila one, too, was just like, oh, why? I don't want to eat...
The mezcal was a limited edition. That was cool.
You know what I don't like about
that?
The
Don Julio was weird.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So, Lagavulin, the one thing I don't like kind of in their spirit is there is a vegetal note.
Well, the mezcal brought that out more than the Don Julio did.
Okay, then it was the mezcal.
But the mezcal was a special... That was like a jazz fest. It's okay to...
It was a 13 or 14-year-old,
It's 13-year, yes.
13, yeah.
But you're allowed to do weird stuff for Jazz Fest. You're not allowed to do weird stuff for the freaking classic 12.
No.
That's my issue. Is like, I actually thought the Don Julio, if they'd made that a special edition, I would have been super happy. I would have bought one.
Look,
a full bottle. I bought a little 20cc.
We talk about wood policies if we play like Spring Maker or maybe head in a bad direction. Lagavulin didn't have a good wood policy to begin with. I might be wrong. I don't know. But
now they're trying.
They didn't seem like they're doing it. Just take your weak ass ex-bourbon cast one more time.
Yeah, I don't.
It worked every time. Yeah, it worked every time. When didn't it work?
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know what they're trying to do.
The yeast abomination that was the 2019. I was so mad.
Now you know what's funny is a couple of reviewers on the newest 12 were actually commenting on how it was too woody. They were making notes similar to this Laphroaig. We didn't quite get it as much. But I do understand where they're coming at. Point being is, Lagavulin, if you can get these older bottles, guys, and you can get these at auctions, there's even some of them floating around the U.S.
18, 16, 15, 14, 13. 17 is probably a little bit pricier.
17 is going to definitely be at a premium if you find one.
I still have 4 of those. Anyways.
Well done, Mike.
Anyway,
I bought 3 and I drank all 3.
I bought the shelf like I always do. Remember that guy locally would give me a whole case of Lagavulin 12 every year? Oh, what a guy.
Yeah, once they got to... Because back then they were 120, 130.
Yeah, it was still like an $800 plus $700 after tax. It was still brutal.
Worth it.
Anyway, those are our thoughts on these 2 pillars of Islay. Smoke pillars of Islay.
Yeah.
The Seraphim of whiskey.
And apologies because I think we've added no value if you're out there buying a bottle of this stuff, guys, because we're all over the place here.
Well, yeah. Buy the Laphroaig unless you get an old one.
Yeah, and I think that's what we got to say. This is actually the one to buy today. But if you got these bunkered older ones, I think they're worth it.
You know what, though? That first full bourbon Lagavulin this year was good.
It was.
Was that the one with the fireplace on it? Or the bonfire on it?
It was like they were showing, the embers burning.
It was good. It was good.
It was very good.
But there was another one with the lion on it. Lion was good.
Lion Fire from 2020 was excellent. If you can get one of those are also going for a premium.
19 was terrible. 21 was weak.
No, sorry, 21 was Lion's Fire. 20 was the
20 was weak. Yeah, there's 2 in a row.
Yeah, 20 was 20 wasn't as bad as 19.
Remember I checked out on Lagavulin? I was like, of the 12s, I was like, no, 19 was garbage, 20 was garbage, I didn't do it again. They're going Ardbeg.
Well, and what happened was I had 6 people tell me, you got to try this Lion's Fire 21. Yep. I finally picked it up and I brought it here and we were like, crap, we got to go buy some.
I remember on that review, I could be wrong, but if we go back in that review, I think the first thing I said was, Lagavulin's back. I mean, instantly.
Well, I remember like before we brought this, Mike looks at me and goes, "Are you really doing one of these stupid cartoon Lagavulins?"
Here's the thing.
And I was like, "Dude, I'm telling you, it's back, kind of."
Anyway, those are our thoughts on these two great whiskeys. If you guys had a chance to try these ones, looking at what you guys think, very close. Closer than I thought.
Yeah, what are you guys buying today and why? Let's do that question, right?
Yeah.
Which of these are you buying today and why?
And why? And specifically, if you're buying Lagavulin 12 in the past, you're still buying it now.
Yeah.
That's a personal thing. That's me. Anyway, those are our thoughts on these particular whiskeys. You guys say just try as well. Let's get to know Dustin. Until next time, folks.
Happy drinking.
See you next time. Is that batch 11?
Was it 10 or 11? Let's see here.
It's 10 was red.
It's the December of 21 release. I won't say batch, does it?
Motherfucker, it's batch 15.
Okay, I'm sorry.